Kashin Koji just flipped the switch on the direction of the entire story in one chapter alone. He's completely broken the system. Right now, besides Boruto, he's the most important character to the flow of the story. He holds everything together. And in this video, we're gonna dissect why that is. Okay, so let's get the BS out of the way. Well, I guess it's not BS because I genuinely want you guys to support my craft. So with that being said, I was hoping you guys would leave a like on the video. Forget all the stats and analytics about how the YouTube algorithm works for a second. And remember, it directly supports me and what I do as a creator. So if you would just take 7 seconds out your busy day, it would literally make my day all the more better. We got a bit to discuss today, so let's not dilly-dally too much longer. So regardless of how you may have viewed the situation, ever since chapter 17, Kashin Koji has been under the radar heavily, not only for being suspected of lying to Boruto, but also his prescience ability becoming obsolete. In that chapter, Koji told Boruto what would happen in the Land of Wind, and directly after, he instructed Boruto not to go there himself because of the fear that Jura would appear and kill him on the spot. Many people thought this was an excuse to keep Boruto out of the fight for a number of reasons, but that theory was birthed from Koji just not appearing to be transparent in his visions. It always seemed like he may be hiding some crucial information for the sake of getting the best possible outcome, no matter who needs to die or be sacrificed for that to happen. But there are subtle clues that still lead us to believe that Koji had everything under control all along. So Koji's ultimate plan, what is it? His plan is to strengthen every single major character to the point where they can have a chance at destroying Jura. And here is another case of that. Let's break down the plan one more time. But this time, let's really pay attention to why everything is why it is. At first, Koji wanted Sarada, Konohamaru, and Mitsuki to be deployed to the Land of Wind. They all had a role to be played into this mission. Konohamaru was there to keep Matsuri occupied while Sarada and the other three take Ryu down. Once Ryu is defeated, they will rendezvous with Konohamaru and take down Matsuri. So he fulfilled his role. He never was supposed to defeat Matsuri by himself. It wasn't in the plan because Koji knew he wouldn't be able to do it. All he knew Konohamaru would be able to do was just keep Matsuri from devouring, and he succeeded in that so far. And Konohamaru was the ideal choice because Matsuri already had feelings for him, and that love would heavily cloud her judgment and decision making. She was never supposed to be occupied this long. Only Konohamaru could have played this role, like I said. Mitsuki is another heavy hitter to complement Sarada's style of combat. I feel like he was thrown into the mission because of his familiarity with Team 7. As a member of Team 7, he works well with Sarada and Konohamaru. And don't get me wrong, Mitsuki has had some great moments in this fight, but I think Mitsuki's role is more to complement Sarada. And Mitsuki's role might not be done. Maybe later on he performs something really clutch that basically solidifies the win for Team 7. But so far, the real trump card in all of this is Sarada. Even when Koji told Boruto the plan, he announced Sarada first, as in ideally, Sarada and the other three will take Ryu down first. Without us knowing, Koji already told us that Sarada will be the one to take Ryu down, or at least have a crucial part in it. And not only just take down Ryu, because there's a much bigger picture in all of this. Of course, the main objective is to take Ryu down and save Shinki, but looking back at chapter 16, the main objective is to set up the final fight with Jura and make it as easy as possible. Koji is still following this plan to hit the others first with the minimum force required, without Jura interfering. And right here is a step towards that big plan. Sarada awakening her MS is the minimum amount of force required to defeat Ryu, and without Jura showing up, might I add. Boruto already showed Jura that he's strong, so of course he knows that he has a chance of defeating Ryu or Matsuri. So if Boruto shows his face, Jura won't allow him to just do whatever he pleases. He doesn't feel this way for Kawaki though. I believe Kawaki with his limiters removed could literally show up to Tsunagakure and wipe the floor with both Ryu and Matsuri with ease. But that choice is a double-edged sword, because even though you succeed in defeating two major Shinjus and get that much closer to the final fight versus Jura, you get rid of the element of surprise with Kawaki's newfound power. Kawaki is considered a trump card right now. You don't want to waste him on enemies that could have been defeated even without his interference. You don't want Jura to look at Kawaki as a threat just yet, especially if there's another situation where you might need Kawaki to be underestimated by the Shinju for him to make the most impact in an important fight. So at that point, It's all strategic planning with Koji. He wants Kawaki's first punch to be hard, so he's looking for a situation to where Kawaki would be most effective. But you really can't control what Kawaki does since he doesn't really follow orders from Koji, so all he can do is influence Kawaki in the direction Koji wants him to go. Maybe having him in a certain place at a certain time, or maybe trying to at least communicate with Kawaki through Shikamaru. Remember, even though Koji is still in hiding, he's in direct contact with their current Hokage, so he still has some influence in what decisions are made around Konoha, just like how he was the one who made Shikamaru send those 3 to the Land of Wind. So Koji is still in the perfect position to make plays within a certain limit. He can influence what moves Kawaki makes, as long as he doesn't start to defy Shikamaru, but Kawaki at the end of the day still wants to protect his standing in Konoha, because he feels like he has a certain level of influence and power among the higher ups as well. So it's really a win-win situation. All you have to do is wait for the perfect situation for Kawaki to join the battle. If Koji didn't have something planned for Kawaki, he wouldn't have told Boruto to inform him of his limiters. Koji needs for Kawaki to be at his best. That's why he awakened his true power. And now we go back to Sarada's situation, the same goes for her as well. Like I said, we believe as a community Koji may very well have been hiding some information from us about his motives and what events may occur in the future. Because now that he's seen the plan failed, why not try something else? Why not call in for help? Hell, maybe even send Boruto in there for help. Yet he still sat patient and let everyone cook. It ended up being for this reason. He needed Sarada to awaken, and this was the best way to go about it. He still may have sacrificed Yodo's life to make that awakening a reality, but this was undoubtedly the plan, to awaken Kawaki and then awaken Sarada moments later. And like I said, it's definitely to defeat Ryu and Matsuri with the minimum amount of force required. But in the bigger picture, it's to get everyone that's gonna have to play a part in taking down Jura ready for that fight. So when you look at it like that, everything about the series so far starts to look staged, all a part of some bigger plan by Kashin Koji. Even the most genuine moments, like Boruto reuniting with Sarada and Sumire, with Koji by Boruto's side all the time, even talking to him through a summoning toad, there's no way he didn't know Mitsuki would attack him. In the bigger picture, Koji needed Boruto to fight Mitsuki, so he would trust him again. And you see now, this way Mitsuki could help Boruto get out of that interrogation room, as well as just not crashing out every time he sees Boruto. So you see, Mitsuki needed that whooping for him to open his eyes and not be a threat for any future plans. Or maybe just trust Boruto enough to fight by his side. That all can be true. However, even though Koji proved his word is still legit, he still isn't 100% transparent in his motives. And that's because he's still not telling Boruto about all his moves. And a part of me doesn't like it, but another part of me can understand why that's the case. It's because of Boruto's caring nature. If he hears there's even a chance that his friends could die, he would rush in to save them immediately. So it's really all about control. Koji is trying to control Boruto so he doesn't make any rash decisions. Even going back to chapter 4, Boruto's shown that even if Koji is directly telling him orders, if he's under enough pressure, his decision making skills seem to falter. And he acts the same when it comes to the safety of his friends. So when reading the future, there's always a chance of another outcome occurring rather than the intended outcome. So let's say there was a 64% chance that Sarada awakens her MS and defeats Ryu, but there's a 36% chance that Sarada doesn't awaken the MS and Ryu kills everyone. Even knowing there's a 36% chance of that happening, that would be enough for Boruto to jump into action, especially if he noticed that something was going wrong with the mission. So in all hindsight, Koji was right to just tell Boruto the chances of them failing wasn't that high. He avoided telling Boruto an exact percentage. And now looking at it, Boruto didn't need to know, because him knowing would just create unnecessary anxiousness, and that could cause him to act in a rash manner. We could even see it here. As soon as Ada said it was too early to tell how things will end, he immediately sprung up out of his seat ready to leave. Well, that is until Koji told him to sit down and be patient. So this is real proof that Koji is correct in the way he decided to handle Boruto. But there's always two sides to the coin, because as much as I think Koji was right in this situation, I still feel he doesn't have to leave Boruto in the dark with certain things. If Koji knew that there was a chance Sarada would reawaken her MS, why didn't he tell Boruto sooner? Even if things go wrong, you still keep Boruto's trust. and trust plays a big factor in this relationship between them. If Boruto loses trust in Koji, that's just as bad as Boruto doing something to ruin the timeline, like interfering with the Tsunagakure mission. So there's pros and cons to this situation. Boruto needs to know what the bigger picture is. He needs to know why Koji is doing this, because as readers we can see it, clear as day. He's trying to awaken these characters' hidden powers to get them prepared to face Jura at the end, but at the same time, take down the remaining Shinju that surround Jura to make that final fight easier. As it stands right now, Jura's the most powerful being in the verse, excluding Shibaya of course. And you're giving him threats that can rival the power of Jigen alongside him. That's not a recipe for success. So getting rid of the other Shinju while still staying under the radar is crucial for this plan to work. So looking at it now that Sarada and the others are in a much better situation than literally last chapter, we see why Koji did everything he did. It wasn't because he was trying to hide anything, it's that this was the best course of action the entire time. He stayed vigilant and calm. So now that Sarada is using her MS in this battle, I think it's safe to assume Koji's vision is correct. So with that being said, this is what we should expect in the upcoming chapters. We can say Sarada and the others defeat Ryu, with Sarada playing the most crucial role in that fight, and after they defeat Ryu and successfully get his Thorn Soul, they go and help Konohamaru defeat Matsuri. And we still don't know for sure if Yoda survives or not. My guess is she will, but nothing Koji said or insinuated tells us whether she lives or dies. All he says is Sarada and the other three defeat Ryu, which means she could still die in that fight, and that goes for anyone to be honest. Konohamaru, Araya, even Mitsuki. But since Yodo is on the brink of death right now, it simply applies to her the most. So if nothing goes wrong or something unexpected happens, this is what should happen. They'll defeat Ryu and Matsuri and get that much closer to the final fight versus Jura. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like this, I'm gonna tell you exactly what you need to do here. Make sure you like the video, comment, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you don't miss another video like this or when I go live to review chapter spoilers. And until my next video, I'll see you boys and girls later, and I'm out. Peace.